Hello. In this lesson, I just want to give you a quick tour of two tools that we can use to make selections in our image. So the image that I have right here open right now called Dead End in your video files, we're going to use to experiment with. I'm going to show you how using this tool called the rectangular marquee tool and some different options down there, but by just clicking and holding you get different options. And I'm also going to show you the lasso tool with different options through that too. So you'll notice a rectangular, you make a rectangular selection very much like you do in many other programs. Click and hold down the cursor and drag, and you're going to get a rectangle that is an area that's selected. So that's important if you want to affect only a certain part of the image. So if I go into my filter menu and into blurs and Gaussian blur after, and blur this right out, you'll notice that it only is affecting the area that I actually selected. A few things about this rectangular tool. In terms of selecting and deselecting, if I've got this as a selection, one quick way to deselect is just to click once outside of the selection and that selection goes away. If you go in through the select menus here at the top, you can go to the deselect if you're looking at it for it in your menus, or you can see the other shortcut is Control and D together. So back to the rectangular tool here, you've got the option of, as I've already shown you, make various sizes of rectangles. If you hold down your Shift key while you're making your selection, it pins it to a perfect square, no matter how big you make it when you drag it out. It's always going to be a perfect square. Another option for you is if you want to select from the center, if you hold down your Alt key and then click and drag outwards, it's going to make your selection from the center, and you can center it from there. The other option is Alt and Shift together is out from the center, and that's going to do a perfect square coming out from the center. So there you have it. That's the rectangular marquee tool. Next down the line, if I'm clicking and holding here, the elliptical marquee tool is very much the same thing. It makes these ellipses or ovals that are selecting here. So the same options apply. So if you hold down your Shift key while you're doing your ellipse, you're going to get yourself a perfect circle. And if you want to start from the center, you hold down the Alt key, and then this is especially useful for the ellipse in terms of aiming that ellipse to make sure that it selects something circular from the center. And then just like the last time, if you hold down Alt and Shift together, you're going to get a perfect circle coming out from the center. So some of the other options to you, once you've got this selection, and this is where it becomes a little more advanced and more useful. Say if you wanted not this entire circle, you actually wanted to cut a bit out of it. If you hold down your Shift key, or sorry, your Alt key, you notice that beside the crosshair there's now a little minus. So now if I make another selection and click in, it takes away from that. It's a subtractive method. It takes away from that selection. And if you hit the Shift button, you get that plus. So anything you click into it, it gets added to the selection. So you can build your selection bit by bit depending on the shapes that you need. You can even change the tool, so you can go back to your rectangular marquee tool with that selection and go like that and change it. If you wanted only the intersection, if you hold down Alt and Shift together once there's a selection, notice you get that X, and that's the intersection. So if I only want things within the intersection of those two, it's going to limit me to just that. So there's your marquee tool and the various ways that you can use that one. Next I'm going to show you the Lasso Tool. The basic Lasso Tool is just a free-form selection that you're just clicking and holding down the cursor and drawing around. And it's going to make a selection. And so if you have a tablet, or you can be really controlled, you can free-form select a certain area. The next one down is called Polygon Lasso Tool, and that you create by clicking, and notice you click once and then you get this line, and you can click and click and click. I'm just zooming in so you can see up close. Every time you click, you're going to get a straight edge. You can build your corners by using that tool and just clicking through, and then if you go back to where you were starting, you'll notice you get that a little circle beside there, and that would complete the selection. Just a note there, I just zoomed in and zoomed out. In order to do that, I was using the shortcut, but if you want to know where it is in the menu, if you go to View here, zooming in, Control and plus, and then zooming out, Control and minus is the way that you go about it. I was just using the keyboard shortcut of Control plus to quickly get in there. So there's a Polygon Lasso Tool, and last I wanted to show you the Magnetic Lasso Tool. That here, if you carefully draw along the edge, it kind of pins it, magnetically pins it to the selection, going around. So it kind of helps you out. If you do it quickly and you make a mistake just like that, that's okay, because you can go back in with say a different tool. Here I'm going in with my other lasso tool. I'm going to hit the minus button to take that away and click through, complete the circle, and take that away. So there's another way that you can select it. Lastly, if you go into the select menu here up at the top, there's a few modifications that you can make that can help you out. One is the feathering, which I find very useful. The shortcut is Shift and F6. So if you go into the feather, what this is you can feather it or blur the edge so it's not quite a straight edge by 2, 3, 4, 5 pixels. And if you go into the sun right up close, you won't notice there will still be that one line, but then if you affect a change, I'll go back and I'll do that Gaussian blur here. You'll notice if I hide the selection, notice how there's it's not a hard edge where it stops here, because the edge of the selection is actually blurred a little bit. I just hid my selection. I didn't deselect by pressing Control and H, and that hides the selection, and that can be helpful too if you want to see it without that line of marching ants. So there you go. There's a couple ways of making selections covered in this tutorial: the rectangular marquee tool and the lasso tool. In a further tutorial, we'll talk about the magic wand and the quick selection tool as well.